So, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast. Today we're discussing not the Brazilian Grand Prix, the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Different promoter probably, same as when we didn't have the German Grand Prix. We had something else.
I definitely need to change the title of all the last episode then, it's fine.
Yep. Sao Paulo Grand Prix, Richard.
Force of habit.
Shall we just get into it?
Sure, why not?
Because we didn't have two races. We had one sprint qualifying session and the race. Ben, sum up the weekend in one sentence.
It's just incredible.
That's one word. Fair enough. Nia?
Hamilton is the best.
Bold claim. Richard?
Mercedes engine clearly whacked up to 11.
I'm just going to go with what a weekend. Because it was a great weekend. Let's get to where it started. Free practice 1. And we haven't spoke about practice in a while, but I feel it's important that we do because it really set the tone for the weekend with Mercedes just pulling pace out their backside.
Yeah.
Thanks to Lewis's new engine.
Wasn't enjoying it at that point, given my bold prediction from the last episode.
Yeah.
Because
your bold prediction did not age well.
That set the precedent. Like, I didn't include free practice. It was just the qualifying session, sprint, and the race. But yeah, it didn't end well. As soon as I saw Lewis just storming out in front by 4/10, I was like, maybe not.
So Lewis topped FP1 by 0.367 of a second. It's fair to say really topped FP1.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what a new power unit will do for you, especially when there's only 4 races left. And I mean, if you think about it, your allocation for the season is 3. We've got 23 races. So really, an engine's got to do 7 and a bit weekends each.
Yeah.
And there's only 4 left if you include Brazil. So you can afford to dial it up and absolutely give it the beans.
Exactly.
And they have.
Yeah, they did. They did dial it up and give it the beans. And they've got the engine that they took just a few races ago as well.
2 engines full of beans.
That's pretty much new and in the pool. So they've got quite a lot to play with over the next 3 weekends. And they're all power circuits.
It could be interesting. I mean, it's going to be interesting just because of how close it is at the top, but
yeah.
It's gonna take a mammoth effort to try and get anything to stop that car.
Yeah.
So.
And that's when Mercedes had their first, very short trip to the steward room to say, we've taken a new engine, 5-place grid penalty, please. Then we had qualifying.
Yeah.
So let's go through qualifying session by session. Starting off with Q1.
The usual suspects.
Yeah.
Say adios.
But Lance Stroll as well.
I mean, he's been out in Q1 a fair few times, even in his Aston Martin. So I'm still going to lump him in with the usual suspects.
And for the first time in a conventional qualifying session, George Russell defeated by his teammate.
In a Williams.
In a Williams, sorry, in a Williams.
Don't forget that Sakir Grand Prix.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
We all do.
Yeah, George beat by just under a 10th by Latifi. So the streak is broken for Mr. Saturday, and it comes to an end on a Friday.
Sadness.
But it's okay. He's going to Mercedes next year, where there
I'm
definitely will
sure-
not be this sort of streak.
I'm sure he'll be fine.
Also out, Mazepin, Schumacher, Latifi, and Stroll. Fair. It's pretty normal. Although Stroll probably shouldn't be getting eliminated in Q1. We probably should be seeing an Alfa Romeo in that spot. He really needs to pull something out in Qatar.
His finger.
Yeah. And of course, topping Q1, Lewis Hamilton by quite some margin, about 3/10 over Bottas and Carlos Sainz. So that was your top three in Q1. Q2 eliminated Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Tsunoda, Vettel, and Ocon. And topping Q2, let's take a guess. Was
Hamilton.
it Lewis Hamilton? It was, again, by an obscene margin. And then Q3, where we think Lewis Hamilton becomes Speed King.
Not for long.
Well, he was Speed King for at least 24 hours. Well, sorry, just under 24 hours. Because the stewards took so long.
They took their damn time.
Yeah. They took that long that the FP2 classification document was released before the final qualifying classification document.
Jesus. I know they got to do their job properly in that, but come on, it's one bit of a car.
Yeah. And the decision to disqualify Hamilton, we'll come on to that, is 3 pages long.
Surely it's just probe went through gap, ergo disqualification. Done. Come on.
Apparently it's not that simple.
Jesus.
And also, coming from that qualifying session, a €50,000 fine for Max Verstappen.
Do you take cash or card?
1 pences. Oh,
Paper?
sorry, 1 cent. So, as we all know, Parc Fermé comes into effect the moment you leave the garage to start your lap in Q1 to the moment the race starts. At that, during those times, no members allowed to...
Isn't it a race finish as well?
No, race start. You're allowed to change parts during the race. And then there's a different Parc Fermé after the race, but it's slightly less.
Could you strategically lose your front wing and then equip a new front wing in the race that has a much better spec?
Yes, but it would cost you so much lap time, it wouldn't be worth it.
What if you accidentally lost your wing on the way into the pit?
I mean, just don't lose your front wing and change it.
Just change it.
Yeah.
FIA trying to think of something. Wait, that's illegal.
So, yeah, Max Verstappen picks himself up a cool €50,000 fine.
I'm sure he'll manage.
For touching a car. And for once, it's not just the stewards examined video evidence. The steward examined a fan video.
And footage from Alpine cars, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Who snitched? Who's the snitch?
Alonso, car 14.
Yeah.
So basically, he gets out his car, touches his rear wing, which is against the rules, and then touches Hamilton's rear wing, which is even more against the rules. But basically, he didn't touch the wing enough to break it, so that didn't annul Hamilton's disqualification. I don't think Mercedes ever tried to argue that he did.
No, but they covered it off anyway, just in case.
They did just say, he touched our car. Bad. So, Yeah, that was qualifying. So officially the Speed King is Max Verstappen, because Lewis Hamilton was disqualified for having a rear wing that was 0.2 millimeters above the tolerance.
Oh my god.
That's how close it was.
I have a tape measure now, and oh my god.
Yeah. Not even 1 whole millimeter, 0.2 of a millimeter.
Oh my god.
That's how close
do
it
they measure
was.
that?
Yeah,
How
they've
do
got
they
a wee
measure that?
disc that they just go, and because it went through it, only one bit of the wing, it passed it, I think, 3 separate parts of the wing. Just one tiny bit of the wing, it went through the illegal.
Game over.
So yeah, that got them disqualified.
Tech regs are tech regs.
Yeah, and always one for saying, let's defend the stewards. Was it harsh? Probably.
Was disqualifying Vettel harsh? Also,
yes.
probably.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Has there been precedent of people being able to fix their cars from damage in Parc Fermé? Yes.
But was it damage?
That's what the stewards have said. The stewards have said it was likely caused by wear and tear.
Well,
which counts as damage.
That sucks.
So that's why
do a Red Bull and just replace the whole lot.
Well, yeah, that's what Mercedes wanted to do. They were like, had you told us, we would have fixed it.
But the thing is, it failed the test before they changed it, whereas Red Bulls had passed the test and then they changed it anyway.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, so that was qualifying. Well, yeah, that was qualifying. We then had FP2, where Fernando goes vroom. Alonso tops FP2 in the Alpine.
Oh, I missed the end of FP2. That was it. I was going to say, because I managed to watch FP2 for a bit, but I didn't see the end of it.
Yeah, so basically you didn't see Fernando Alonso go the vroom vroom.
Yeah,
and take P1.
Try to see if Lewis got a penalty or not.
Yeah, while everyone else was just sitting refreshing the FIA website.
Yeah.
Did you manage to crash it again?
No, it didn't crash.
They've hired an extra server.
What race was it crashed the FIA website?
Hungary,
yeah.
Seb's result.
Yeah, that crashed the FIA website. Clearly less people are interested in Lewis Hamilton being sent to the back of the grid as Seb's podium. Yeah. Or they've just fixed their website so it doesn't crash in these instances.
Everyone loves Seb, so...
Yeah. Did you hear Seb's radio after sprint qualifying? We'll come to sprint qualifying in a second.
Yes. Oh, I'm going to touch his rear wing. Don't you dare.
It's expensive.
Very expensive.
The front wing will be 25 grand.
I love it. It's just the sort of thing that, you know, he can bring because he's been around for so long, and you know he's got that bit of a cheeky side to him, but you know at the same time he's still a serious racer
because he's Seb.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's built up a sort of a reputation for being able to have a joke but still taking his job seriously.
Yeah,
like sort of in a way, a younger version of Seb would be kind of like Lando is. So, I mean, I can see Lando in sort of like a decade time being quite similar to how Seb is now. But
we'll come to Lando soon.
Way to go till we get to that point.
As I said, the decision doc to disqualify Lewis Hamilton was 3 pages long, which is why we're not showing it.
We'll be here all day.
Yeah. So basically, to sum up, Mercedes tried to defend it. And to everything Mercedes said, the stewards just went, lol, no.
Womp womp. Basically.
What I did notice, though, is unlike Seb's disqualification, which was tested in accordance with the technical regulations, Lewis's disqualification came from a technical directive, which are not technically regulations. Technical directives are not regulatory. They are simply guidance.
But surely the guidance falls back to a regulation somewhere.
The regulation states that when static, the car, so with no force applied, the wing must pass the test. The technical directive adds in a force to the test.
So the technical directive is the update we had earlier in the season to stop flexi wings.
Yeah, but I think the DRS one's been in for longer, possibly. Basically,
I mean, you can argue the case that even when you're doing the test with the force, it's still static.
Yeah, so the competitor also noted that Article 3.6.3 of the regulation states a maximum dimension which is possible to measure without applying a force or load. It is not until a force is applied that the gauge is able to go through. So basically what Mercedes was saying is it's passed in accordance with the technical regulations. No force was applied and the gauge did not go through. However, when you go push, the wing moves. So it's likely just a loose bolt. And the FIA still went, lol, no. Disqualified.
They make it up as they go.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. We'll come to that soon. As to how they just like to change the way they do things. And so we finally got to the grid. Verstappen had inherited pole, and Lewis was with the Haas's. And he became God. 4 cars in turn 1.
Okay, yeah, but like, come on. It's a Haas.
Yeah.
He did 4 cars in lap 1 in the race, and they were not Haas's.
Okay, yeah, but that's slightly more impressive. But the fact that 2 of the cars he overtook are probably about as aerodynamic as Noah's Ark.
Did you see Haas's tweet when Mercedes said they were going to the grid
No.
for the sprint? Haas used a Simpsons gif, and it's just Homer tapping the couch between him and Bart saying, join us.
Oh, God.
If you go and watch Internet's best reactions, it took some points.
I'm not surprised. It's probably the best thing. That's probably the thing that Haas have been best at this season. Is their social media.
Social media.
Because it doesn't take a lot to beat their car.
But yeah, 4 cars in turn 1. I think he'd made up 6 positions by the end of lap 1.
It was just kind of a blur at that point.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like spin the wheel and how far up has Hamilton gone. So.
I think had he not got stuck behind Ricciardo for a good few laps, he could have got Perez and maybe even Sainz. That's the pace he could very well have got a podium in the sprint race. I just thought that was madness. Yeah, so it was just amazing as to how many positions he did make up in that sprint race. P20 to P5 is an amazing charge, no matter what car you're in. Anyone else want to add to the sprint race, or am I just rambling?
You carry on.
But by all means, fill your boots. But I think, Bottas did well to hold on to his tyres for that long. I think if he hadn't got past Verstappen, his tyres wouldn't have held on that long.
Yeah.
So yeah, shrewd bit of tactical choice there from Mercedes.
Bottas's launch was amazing as well.
It's amazing what softer tyres does for you.
But he was rapid
and some actual in-sync gear changes. Have you seen Verstappen's onboard from the sprint start? Literally every time he pulls the gear paddle, it's like how can you live with that? Like, his hands device just working overtime.
Red Bull gearbox to explode in Qatar.
I don't know. It's just
if that happened, it's championship over.
Oh yeah.
Actually, if either driver DNFs now, it's championship over.
You know what's coming next week?
Double DNF.
No, that's going to happen in Abu Dhabi. One of them will try and Prost Senna.
You mean someone will try and do a Schumacher and fail and still get disqualified?
It depends who's leading the championship.
Yeah, very true. And that's a good question. Coming into this weekend, we didn't think we'd be saying that the championship fight is very much on. I thought this weekend could have been the death toll for the championship, especially when he got disqualified.
I mean, I came into this weekend thinking that Red Bull's pretty decent around Brazil. Championship gap's likely to grow. Now we're talking it's shrinking and it's going to keep shrinking. And it's okay. Yeah. Change of tune.
Yeah, there's only 12 points in it now.
Something like that, yeah.
So that's 2 race wins. And the championship changes hands.
And the Constructors is even closer.
It's 14 points.
14 points. So yeah, that's exactly 2 race wins, provided
and then it'll go on
finishes.
Count back then, won't it?
Well, then Max will lead on.
It depends. One of them could nick a fastest lap.
Yeah, but we would still have a race to go. And could you imagine them tied on points going into the final race?
Le double DNF incoming.
We need.
And breaking news, F1 adds sprint weekend to Abu Dhabi. More points.
Out of Bernie Eccleston, double points.
Yeah. Let's turn on the sprinklers. Go. And so the sprint classification was as follows. We had Valtteri Bottas winning the sprint from Verstappen, Sainz, Perez, Hamilton P5, only a second behind Perez. That, I think, is a madness. Norris, Leclerc, Gasly, Ocon, Vettel, Ricciardo, Alonso, Giovinazzi, Stroll, Tsunoda, Latifi, Russell, Raikkonen, Schumacher, Mazepin. But then Lewis had his 5-place grid penalty from earlier in the weekend, so down to 10th he went for the start of the race. Kimi changed his rear wing and was sent to the pit lane because it was of a different specification than the one that they'd entered Parc Fermé with. And that left us with the grid for Sunday's race. Now, shall we talk about Sunday's race? Which turn 1 incident do we want to discuss first?
Let's start with the first one. Lap 1.
Oh yeah, there's 2 in turn 1.
Didn't even quite make it to turn 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lando just chopped across too early.
Yeah, it was quite silly.
Yeah.
And it was 100% his fault.
And he definitely paid the price for it.
Yeah.
But still managed to finish 10th, which I don't think enough people are covering, because he's essentially gone from last to 10th, well, last and almost a lap down to 10th. I know the safety car has very much helped him out.
I was going to say, yeah, the 3 safety cars. Well, the safety car and 2 VSCs will massively have helped.
But still, last to 10th is good effort.
Yeah.
So
not bad recovery.
No. Yeah. Just annoying that it had to be a recovery.
Yeah.
Completely his own fault, though, as we say. And then elsewhere in lap 1, turn 1, Verstappen decides Bottas doesn't need the track. And because it's lap 1, no matter what happens, stewards, I sleep. And then Bottas decides Bottas doesn't need the track to let Perez through.
Genius moves.
The first one, yes, he was forced off and sort of had to cede the position or they would crash. So maybe he shouldn't have ceded the position. 25-point swing in the driver's title.
Questions would be asked.
I think, actually, if we come back to the sprint really quickly, Perez not being able to pass Sainz, I think, really epitomised Red Bull's weekend and showed that they were going to struggle on the Sunday if they didn't get the start they did. If they had been stuck behind Bottas, they were... But
they did.
Max pushed Bottas off, and then Bottas just went to Perez, after you.
Thank you very much.
And let him through, yeah. Elsewhere in lap 1, Lewis passes about 4 cars to get up to P6, albeit Lando going bang definitely helped. And then the race sort of settled down for a bit. Lewis was cutting through the field as expected, got to P4. Valtteri is James. He slowed down so much to let him pass into turn 1. Why didn't they just let him through into turn 4?
Dirty effort.
Because they're stupid.
Like, Lewis wasn't even that close. He would have closed at turn 1, 2, 3, and then just let him by into 4.
A solid 3 seconds go.
Yeah, he lost so much time inverting the cars.
Yeah, not the right decision. Maybe they could have waited another lap, I think.
Yeah. And then Tsunoda decided Lance Stroll didn't need to drive anymore.
I feel like Lance Stroll needed to check his mirrors. Because we've all credited Hamilton for an amazing dive bomb on Lando Norris in the sprint. And Tsunoda's done exactly the same thing. And Lance has just gone, I don't see anything, so it's not there, and turned in. So, I think Tsunoda had every right. He was so far alongside him by the time Stroll had actually turned in to make contact. Like,
the stewards disagree.
I know, and that's what slightly irks me, because we've seen so many late dive bombs up the inside. We've seen them from Sainz and Perez and even Hamilton in the sprint and a whole host of other people, and now Tsunoda's done one, and the other guys just not paid attention and just turned in regardless, and they've gone, yep, your fault. And it's kind of...
That's actually what we didn't talk about, was Hamilton's amazing move on Norris at the end of the sprint.
I feel like Norris has just gone, I'm getting that place back anyway.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out, son.
Yeah, Norris didn't really try and defend, but it was still a stunning pass. Like, although the top speed on that Merc was just insane. Still didn't top the speed traps, though.
Lol.
That's the best thing. And everyone's like, oh, they are cheating. Then why didn't they top all 4 speed traps?
Because they know when to cheat. It's like the Ferrari fuel sensor trick. Big brain.
Big brain. So here's what the steward said about Yuki Tsunoda's incident. They reviewed the video evidence and determined that Tsunoda caused a collision. I would like to hope so when you're giving him a penalty for causing a collision. Tsunoda was slipstreaming Stroll along the front straight and was considerably faster on the inside of turn 1. However, he braked too late and collided with car 18 in this optimistic manoeuvre. The stewards find him wholly at fault. 10-second time penalty, 2 penalty points, 6 in the 12-month period. He's racking up them penalty points.
You're calling a move optimistic. I mean, yeah, that's fine, but at the same time, if gap no car, no longer racer quote, then,
That's 2 penalty points.
Damn.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, it's... The moves that we've seen into that corner and how late other drivers have reacted make me think that Stroll at least played some part in that collision. Because Stroll was on a harder set of tyres, Yuki was on a set of softs, And like, come on, he was clearly able to make, even if they hadn't made contact, Yuki was still making that corner. So to say he braked too late, I think it's only because Stroll turned in that it was too late. So
determined that Stroll had the corner.
Yeah, that's the whole and a whole other argument of at what point does the corner belong to you?
Yeah.
So because they hadn't even hit the apex at that point.
Apparently, it's nearly at the apex according to the FIA, but we'll get to that. So yeah, there was a 10-second time penalty for Yuki Tsunoda, and then I think the stewards went home and just stopped.
I pressed the safety car button a few times.
Oh yeah, sorry. Well, that's Michael Massey that presses that button. He makes that decision. That's not the stewards. So yeah, Michael Massey deploys the safety car because of Yuki Tsunoda's exploding front wing. It just scattered debris. Why did it take so long for the safety car to be deployed, though? They went through that section twice. You could see all the debris.
They probably said,
and then they were like, safety car.
Unless someone just came in and pressed it.
And Massey was like, no.
Yeah, we don't need that.
So we figured out at which point Massey goes to the toilet in a race.
Yeah. And then Mick Schumacher removed his front wing. And so we got VSC. Where it then came up on the timing screens, track clear in track sector 9, even though there was a big whopping piece of debris on the circuit. They eventually cleared that, and we went green. And then Lance Stroll's car decided to stop existing, and we got another virtual safety car, even though the debris was off of the circuit. That was the one that confused me. We watched it fly up and land in the runoff. But those ones, the stewards, immediate VSC. Not 2 laps. Straight away, virtual safety car. Why? I don't understand.
It was on the main straight, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's off the track.
Yeah.
No one is using that.
You see some squeezes go on.
I suppose. Lando Norris.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But through all 3 safety car restarts, the Red Bulls were incredibly quick.
Yeah, Perez gained
half a second on Hamilton during one VSC restart, which must have just been Hamilton going too slow, which he did through the corner.
Yeah, it's also like when it goes green as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it depends where you are in the circuit when it goes green. And Verstappen gained time on Hamilton as well during that VSC restart. But the safety car restart was just well taken by Red Bull. They didn't go until basically they hit the line. And there's not much space in Brazil between the line and the first corner. But that didn't really stop the inevitable. As Lewis Hamilton then closed up to the back of Checo, stayed there for a couple of laps, and then passed them. Great move.
It was a good battle again between them two.
But Sergio just went, lol no, and decided to overtake Lewis again.
And then
the next lap, Sergio has no battery. Very reminiscent of 2019. During a safety car restart where Lewis had no battery and Max just went, bye.
It just makes me laugh because it makes me think of all the the battery adverts that you have, and it's like lasts longer, and then you think and it's like all the main competitor batteries like running through, and all the others are just dying, and then there's
should have installed a Duracell.
Just like, oh god, it just amazes me like how quickly they burn through it. I mean, I know you have like an allowance per lap and whatever, but even so,
different modes.
Even so, there's only so much only so much charge it holds. Yeah. I mean, it's annoying enough to do it on the game. Imagine real life.
I mean, think of it back in F1 2019 when you had like 6 different modes for ERS and how quickly you burn through it in hot lap mode.
Yeah, it's just
like if Sergio went into a mode similar to that no wonder it was empty.
Yeah, used the entirety of his battery down the straight into turn 4.
Yeah, just to re-overtake Lewis for a position that he was not going to hold
for half a lap. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we started following Max after that overtake on Lewis, on Perez. And it was a good battle. Lewis couldn't quite seem to get close enough through sector 2 to be able to line up the move into 3. Until one lap when he did, namely lap 49. Let's discuss the lap 49 incident. Anyone who's seen the race will know exactly what we're talking about. Let's go round, everyone. Penalty or no, Richard?
Penalty, 5 seconds.
And Nia?
So, penalty, yeah, 5 seconds.
Ben?
So, as Richard said, penalty. England have got a penalty.
The timing. They're at least already winning.
Yeah, it was 2-0 when I last looked at this.
That's okay then.
We just got a penalty for handball, which is ridiculous, but it was just the timing was spot on. But for Max, I definitely penalty.
Yeah, it was a stonewall penalty. He was never making the corner.
You can throw all the arguments at it you want. He was on the dirty side of the racetrack, and he was sliding, so he was correcting to not spin or whatever. It's like, it doesn't matter. At that point, you're still not making the corner, so you've, in essence, forced another competitor off the track. And you yourself have run wide, so you've left the track.
And gained an advantage.
By keeping the position.
Lewis was in front, going in on entry. And Max has only kept the position because he's went deep.
And yet the stewards are just not bothering with it. And it's... I said it to you on chat yesterday, Chris, that like part of me wants to give the stewards the benefit of the doubt that they had like the telemetry of the car, because they haven't seen the onboard that showed his steering wheel. It's like part of me wants to, trust that they had the telemetry and they used that to make their decision that Max was actually bothering to try and make the corner instead of just kind of, no, not today. Let's go wide.
But then they didn't have Max's onboard for that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, no one does. We've still not seen it, and it's 24 hours after the race.
Yeah, they did. They should really have all the onboards and stuff on hand for instances like this.
See, I can understand why they didn't have the onboard, because there's only one camera that broadcasts at a time, and so they would have to have waited until after the race to get it. But why not just put up a message? Turn 4 incident will be investigated after the race. Or just put it under investigation. Because from what I understand, they only look at the full telemetry if they deem an incident under investigation. So put it under investigation. If they investigated and came to no further action, I'd be a little less annoyed than I am with no investigation necessary. I feel that because there was that very public FIA radio message saying, oh, this is all about let them race, that they might have shat it a wee bit, to be honest.
That's the other part of me. So part of me wants to trust that the stewards have looked at the telemetry and gone, fine. The other part of me says, Canada 2019 and how badly the stewards the bed and the complete roasting they got after that incident.
And that was the correct decision as well in Canada.
Exactly. Argue it as much as you want, the correct decision was made. But now they're all like, oh, let's let them decide it on track. But hello, they weren't on the track.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm all for letting them decide it on the track, but
they
be on the track.
Yeah.
It's all well and good having arguments about track limits when, lap times are being deleted and overtakes are being done. But if you're not even bothering to go anywhere near the circuit, then, penalties need to be imposed.
Yeah.
It's just common sense.
What Massey said after the race was both cars went off track, neither car lost positions, the status quo was maintained. Fair enough.
Not quite sure I'm okay with that, because
no,
Lewis was making the corner.
Andy was ahead.
He was ahead in the braking point, and then Max has just gone, brake late, have fun. So yeah, no, that's not the status quo, that's desperation.
That's right. Max committed 2 offences at the same time, leaving the track and gaining an advantage because he only kept that position because he braked late and went off, and forcing another driver off the track. We saw 2 penalties earlier in the season for that exact same offence. What is the difference?
Exactly, that's the thing. We keep coming back to it. The stewards keep making different decisions on similar incidents. Like, even when we had a near carbon copy incident in Monza, they still made a different decision. So, why are we expecting them to actually do anything that maintains a level of consistency? So that's the problem at the minute. The stewards lack a consistent hand.
And the thing here, it sets a dangerous precedent that if you both go off the track and no one spins, fair enough.
Only when there's no gravel involved.
Yeah. That's the difference between those ones in Austria, where we saw the penalties. The other driver went into the gravel and spun. But that shouldn't be the white lines of the track limits. If you force another driver beyond those white lines, you've broken the rules.
And it again comes back to judging the incident on the outcome, which they say they don't, but they clearly are.
Yeah.
Because neither driver lost position and the status quo was maintained. Okay, they're both still 1 and 2, but you're looking at it like they've both gone off track. A driver has forced another driver off the track. That's a 5-second penalty in Austria. But just because Perez bit it in the gravel and then lost 3 or 4 positions because there was gravel there, suddenly now, because it's just a bit of runoff, it's okay. So basically, what I'm hearing here is cut Paul Ricard, absolutely send it, no penalties required.
Yeah, we spoke about it during France, because with Pierre and Lando, when Pierre just steamrolled Lando.
Exactly. Pierre sent him round and there was nothing in that because, again, there's runoff.
Yeah.
Put a gravel trap there, that's a 5-second penalty.
So what I'm reading is that it isn't over in terms of this incident. So here's what Massey said.
Is there an opera singer woman that we need to know about? What time does her performance start?
Referring to the onboard footage that we're discussing, it hasn't been obtained yet. It's been requested and asked if the footage is a smoking gun. It could be, absolutely. We didn't have access to it. It has been downloaded, and once the commercial rights holder supplies it, we will have a look. We've got the forward-facing, the 360, all the camera angles that we don't get live will be downloaded, and we will have a look at them. So it's possible that there could be a reconvening of the steward once they have it. And they've also, Massey's also said that he wasn't far off a black and white flag. 2 black and white flags equals a penalty. He already got 1.
That was after, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because he decided to make 6 chicanes down a straight.
Surely, if anything, that makes him a little bit slower because he's adding extra meters.
It does, but it also makes it more difficult for the car behind.
Yeah, less of a slipstream.
if they want to pass, they're going to have to make the same moves just in the opposite direction all the time. Which is why you're not allowed to do that.
You can do it to an extent, can't you? As long as you leave, like, you can use like half the track, can't you?
You're allowed to make a move to break the slipstream, but not excessively. So, like, once you break the slipstream once, that's you basically considered to have made your move.
I was gonna say, because I've seen incidents where drivers have weaved multiple times, but they've always left like half the track, and that's been deemed acceptable because there's still a sizable chunk of track that the other driver can aim at.
But Max was using the whole
track. Yeah. I feel like that's the big difference there.
Yeah.
So.
But then eventually, 10 laps after the controversial incident,
the inevitable.
Yeah. Lewis got back up behind Max and just went, adios.
And Toto stuck it to the cameraman.
Oh, yeah. Toto's reaction was amazing.
Toto has learned exactly where that cameraman is and knows exactly when he's going to look at that man. Because he knows whenever Lewis overtakes anyone, he's going to get looked at, and that's going to get shown. So he memes it.
If you're that cameraman, you're pants.
if I was that cameraman and I just saw Toto shouting at me, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm done. I'm gone. See you later.
I'm away home.
Just hand the cameraman off to the nearest mechanic and just bye.
The camera just suddenly shake up and down like loads.
Like the chief desk breaker is suddenly angrily pointing at you.
Like, give the camera to Daniel again, like he did like 2018 or something. He went into the Merc garage.
Camera operator Fernando Alonso. Do you remember when he did the trackside one? Oh my god, that was so terrible. It was just not the smoothest, let's put it that way. By the time we got to the Grand Prix and by the time Lewis had made it all the way up to second, we were well familiar with the pace in the Mercedes. So it was kind of a case of when, not if.
Yeah. And
the longer the race went on, the sooner that when seemed to become. So, yeah, it was... Don't get me wrong, it's a great drive, but it's clearly because they've taken that engine up to 11 because they can afford to, because it's a brand new one and it's only got 4 weekends left. So, great drive. Slightly abusing the rules.
No, I wouldn't say so. It's within the budget cap.
Yeah. But I still agree with Jensen that the more engines you take, the more severe the penalty should be. In which case, Lewis would have had a 10-place grid penalty and would have been dumped into 15th.
Which probably wouldn't have made a difference this weekend.
It probably would have taken him, an extra 10 laps to catch up to Max?
Which he's had time for.
Yeah.
That's including the incident where Max just went, lol, no.
And then probably would have still finished 5 seconds up the road.
Yeah, because the lol no happened at 49. He passed on 59. So add the 10 laps, it would have been 59, 69. It was a 71-lap race.
That would have been an absolute firecracker of a finish.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that every time Hamilton was getting to that corner, they'd mentioned that was the incident with Albon.
Yeah.
How many times are you going to mention that?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he mentioned it every time during the sprint and the race. We just kept hearing the same thing.
We also kept hearing Jun Sao.
Yeah, Jun Sao. or Junction.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kept giving it its English name as well. No, it's not called Junction, it's called Jun Sao. Get it right.
Oh, right.
Admittedly, I do love the fact that Sao Paulo has corner names and it's not just turn one.
Turn one.
Yeah.
Awkward, given that we're the Turn 5 podcast.
You've got the Senna S's.
Should we just rebrand now to the Mirabeau podcast?
Mirabeau, yeah. Is it Mirabeau or is it Casino
It is
Square?
Mirabeau. It's Mirabeau. I checked.
Fair enough.
I had a piece of paper somewhere where it was like every single track on the original calendar and all of the Turn 5 names. And
how many of them were just Turn 5?
A disappointing amount of them were just Turn 5. So,
what would it be in Spa?
it's the entry. It's the entry to Les Combes.
I was about to say, yeah, every corner in Spa has a name.
Yeah, it's the entry to Les Combes at Spa. It's the
great podcast name, the entry to Les Combes.
Well, no, it would be the Les Combes podcast.
Yeah.
Exit Varianti della Roggia. So, yeah, it doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does it?
No, I wouldn't say so. Yeah, so he got past and then disappeared 10 seconds up the road.
Yeah, I mean, from at that point, okay.
Shall we get on to the prediction scores then for Sao Paulo?
Right, I'm just going to go through the bold predictions first because this is going to be a lot quicker. Oh, God.
We're not finished because after the race, we went back to the stewards. They woke up from their food coma that they'd spent Max's 50 grand on because Lewis took off his seatbelts during the cool-down lap. Now, drivers do this all the time.
It's a very non-plus thing, isn't it?
Yeah. It happens at nearly every race. Charles did it during the race.
That was Spain,
for 3 laps at full racing speed. No penalty. Lewis wants to wave about a Brazilian flag. 25 grand.
That's an expensive flag.
Albeit 20 grand of it is suspended until next year if he doesn't do it again.
What does that mean? So he pays
he pays
5 grand now, and if he does it again, he has to pay another 20 plus whatever they fine him then,
which is likely to be another 25.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, it's stupid.
Right.
Essentially, they gave him
money.
a
Why need to pay it now?
Yeah, so basically they said he was a very naughty boy and he has to demonstrate to the junior categories that you are not to remove your seatbelt. So basically, don't celebrate until you get to Parc Fermé.
Yeah.
I love how the Silverstone stewards, where Lewis near enough got out his car to get a British flag, were like, oh, okay. Brazilian stewards, no. Penalty.
Again, lacking consistency.
Exactly. This has never been an issue before. Why?
We've had people riding on other people's cars.
Yeah. In recent years
on the cool-down lap.
Yeah, when Seb crashed into, who was it, Stroll? On the cool-down lap.
And he just hitched a lift.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Or we've saw drivers' meetings with Charlie Whiting where they were like, yeah, you're allowed to take off your seatbelts. No. Did that result in a fine? No. Lewis admitted to Charlie Whiting that he removed his seatbelt and he was just like, oh, maybe don't do that. But I mean, okay. And that was it. It was just, maybe don't.
Just like, maybe try not to, please. Thanks.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and then we finally got the final race classification, rendering the event over unless they find Max's onboard footage.
Lost in the ether.
Yeah. So, the classification of the Formula One Heineken Grande Primiero de Sao Paulo 2021 was as follows. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, Ocon, Alonso, Norris, Vettel, Raikkonen, Russell, Giovinazzi, Tsunoda, Latifi, Mazepin, Schumacher. For the first time in his Formula One career, Mazepin has not finished bottom of a session. Mazepin is no longer 21st in a 20-driver championship.
Yes, he is.
No, he's overtaken Robert Kubica.
Not on the official website, he hasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, let's check the championship points one from the FIA. I was just going by the graphic that they showed at the end of the race.
Do they have Kubica on that one still?
Yeah. Oh, I take that back. Kubica finished 14th. The FIA still have him below.
Yep.
Oh, wait, no, sorry. Mazepin also finished 14th in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, but... no.
But Kubica finished 15th in the Netherlands. Mazepin has never finished 15th. So Kubica is still 20th. The graphic on the TV was wrong.
Classic
Formula One. Now we can talk about predictions.
Okay, right, let's start with bold. That'll be easier. Basically, we all had a stinker.
Yeah.
Alex, Hamilton, Verstappen collision, because it's a sprint weekend. He has sent me a message saying he wants half a point.
No.
That's what I said.
They didn't crash.
I said I'd put it to the stewards, which is basically you guys. No. Cool. Good. Ben, you said no retirements in the race. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I should have stuck with safety car.
Oh, yeah, sorry. There were 2 retirements in the race. When I'm talking about classification. They were Ricciardo and Stroll. Ricciardo's power unit gave up. Stroll's chassis gave up, being bound together.
Yep.
Continue.
Chris, you said double DNF for Ferrari.
Yeah, I thought we would have another turn 4 incident. We did not.
It was kind of close.
Sad McLaren noises.
Yeah.
Nia and Alpha in Q3, absolutely not. And me, Verstappen to top Q1, Q2, Q3, sprint and the race. Not today. So
you
yeah,
wouldn't even have got it, even without Lewis Hamilton's disqualification.
Yep.
Well, no, sorry, even if Verstappen had won the race or the sprint, you still wouldn't have got it.
Yep.
Because Bottas beat him in one of the qualifying sessions.
Sad noises. Okay, so speaking sprint podium malarkey, our championship that we've got, Alex came last this week. He scored 1 point. The winner this week, it's Chris.
Oh my god, I won. Yes.
You scored 7 points. You're still last.
Don't care. I won away. I won.
You are now only 8 points behind your next nearest competitor.
Another 7-point weekend.
So yeah, Chris, you're last in 6th on 69 nice points. Alex is in 5th on 77 points. Ben, you're in 4th, having scored 6 points this weekend, putting you up to 78. Sonia is in 3rd as per last week. She scored 3 points, so she's up to 83. I also scored 3 points, so I'm still in 2nd on 84. And scoring 6 points and extending her lead at the top is 90 points and Nia.
Get in.
Fuming. Mazepin bingo. Mazepin finished 2 laps down and was first lapped on lap 36.
I was very wrong.
Which means everyone got the total number of laps down wrong, which I feel was safety car related, and everyone got the first lap majorly out because of the safety car. But that basically meant that whoever picked the highest number wins, and that was Nia.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, Jeff. And for social media, Hamble93 won this week with 3 points, purely because he put Hamilton on the top step. Macasance and DeVolf8 both scoring. Oh wait, no, Macasance scored 2 points for putting Verstappen and Hamilton on the podium, but DeVolf scored 1 point because he put Verstappen on the podium. We also need to do predictions for this weekend, guys.
How many points were we awarding for the sprint podium? Or were we just
it was just
a point for
just the
whoever
winner
won the sprint?
Yeah.
Oh. I was about to say, I got 2 places on the podium right for the sprint.
I only wanted number 1.
Yeah, that's okay. Carry on.
We need Qatar predictions.
We do. Now, before we give the Qatar predictions, let's go to the F1 website and I'll show you the circuit and the number of laps so you can think about Mazepin bingo. You're welcome. However, there can be no pseudo maths because we have no lap
don't
times.
have a track record. Damn it. What's the length?
5.38 kilometers.
And what's that compared to Brazil?
Here's the circuit.
I still don't like it.
We have 57 laps.
57.
I think it's like Bahrain on speed.
I like the fact that at the top of that graphic, Losail is spelt with an O, and then underneath it's spelt with a U.
Yeah. I just love the title sponsor. Uvidu. It's the Uvidu Qatar Grand Prix.
It's going to be a banger.
The record of no.
Not none or anything. No.
Oh.
So yeah, here's the circuit. We only have one DRS zone. It's going to be interesting. It's hard to tell which team will be better off just looking at the layout. I think it might be Mercedes because of these long straights in between corners.
Yeah, and just the fact that they've turned the
power unit corners
up.
At 9, 10, 11, 12. Like, that's going to be a really high speed section, I think.
Just insert Jeremy Clarkson power.
Speed! So yeah, here's Qatar. And then we go to just been released on the game. So you can go and drive Jeddah for yourself. But here is the spoon.
I also still don't like this.
There's too many corners.
It's just weird.
And half of them aren't 18, 19, 20, 21 are basically just not corners.
They're giving Austria turn 2 a run for their money.
Yeah.
And winning.
What I don't like about this is they haven't coloured in the sectors or the DRS zone.
Have they even decided the sectors yet?
Yeah.
But considering they've decided Qatar's, which was announced long after Jeddah. Like,
yeah, but Qatar...
And it's in the game. They have to know the sectors.
Has been used for MotoGP, so, there's a bit of a precedent there.
Yeah.
This is brand new.
And it's in the game. They sort of have to know the sectors.
In before Cody's got it wrong.
Yeah. And then Abu Dhabi with the new layout, which they have added to the website. We're now down to 16 corners at Abu Dhabi. But it's still all going to be decided, I think, between turn 5 and turn 9. Because there's still no places to overtake 2, 3, 4. And then hairpin 5, and you've just got the big DRS zones. It's still going to be boring.
Yes, Island.
And we have no lap record. So for the next 3 races, you can do no pseudo maths for Mazepin Bingo because we have no lap records. Fun. So, Ben, we'll come to you first. Will he finish?
Yeah.
How many laps down will he finish?
1 lap down.
And on which lap will he be lapped?
Lap 30.
Lap 30. Nia, will he finish? Let me guess. Yes? 3:27.
No. You were wrong for that.
Okay,
it's 25.
Oh, 25,
it's 25,
sorry.
actually. Get it right. But I'm changing 3 to 2.
Oh my god, there's a change in Nia's predictions. Whoa.
I know.
The
Richard?
apocalypse hath cometh. I'm going to say yes, 27-2.
I'm going to go with yes, 28-2.
And Alex has said DNF on lap 1.
Great. To be fair, the first sector is very similar to Bahrain, so Sabine.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex has also said pole position will be Hamilton. And the
Wow,
podium,
what a surprise.
the podium will be Hamverbot.
Ben. Sorry, we came to you first for Mazepin Peggle. Nia.
Hamilton pole.
Yes.
Perez podium.
Richard.
Hamilton pole. Hamilton Bottas Verstappen.
And I'm going to echo that sentiment with a ham pole, Hambot there.
That means I've just given the worst prediction. God damn it.
Excuse me, I just won.
It's law of averages, Chris.
I just won. I'm
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
Lewis
So it's not going to
Hamilton.
happen again.
I'm pulling it back. Ben?
Hamilton pole, Norris, just to try to switch it up.
Okay. Bold prediction.
So we've all just agreed that it's going to be a power circuit.
Yeah.
And Ben and Nia have omitted the other Mercedes car from the podium.
Yes, you said Bottas. I was originally going to go for what you said, Chris, and then you said it.
What,
so I was
Hambot
like,
there?
I better switch up quick.
Bold predictions.
Richard, you go first.
Okay, I've just read Alex's and it's completely just melted
Okay,
my
read out
brain.
Alex's then.
Ferrari will finish 5th and 6th, both McLaren's and Gasly all in the points.
So he's basically predicting the top 10.
He's predicted 5 cars in the top 10 and the podium. So
Well, no, he's not,
predicted,
because
he's
he
predicted
predicted-
8 of the top 10.
Yeah. How many points are we putting on offer for that?
0.1.
One.
The fact, the fact that he said that Ferrari will finish 5th and 6th, that's nice and specific. So I'll give him a point per position.
1.5.
Yeah, a point per
And then-
position.
Okay,
both-
3 points. 3 points.
Yeah, 3 points. Then the others are just general. So
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, 3 points for
3
that.
points.
yeah.
And then your bold prediction, Richard?
What are we going to see? So 57 laps, circuit nobody likes.
I say nobody's a bit general.
I am everyone, and I don't like it. Let's go for... both championships to change hands?
Is that even possible?
I don't know.
I don't think it is. Because for
Well, that's a
Hamilton
Williams
to
away.
take the lead in the Drivers' Championship, Verstappen basically has to DNF. With your podium prediction, that is literally not possible.
Right, fine. What else can we pick? Let's say that Stroll will outqualify Vettel, but Vettel will beat Stroll in the race by at least 3 positions.
Hey. Ben.
A car that is not a Red Bull or Mercedes on the podium.
What?
So literally, Ben has predicted 16 other cars can make it on the podium.
I mean, you put Norris on the podium.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
he
he's
might
doubling
not get a
down in case
podium.
it's not
So,
Norris.
yeah, you got to finesse the system.
I should specify, these points are separate to the podiums. This is a bold prediction.
So Ben, what's happening to Bottas and Perez in this race?
Disqualified. Just Stuart's pressed the wrong button.
Okay. Nia, your bold prediction, please.
One Ferrari and one McLaren go out in Q2, and then only one McLaren and one Ferrari get points.
I'm going to go with Williams Q2. That's it. Just a Williams for Q2.
I'm going to chuck in an Alpine as well in the qualifying one.
Right, so do you want to re-say yours then?
Why? What has just happened?
So Nia's bold prediction's huge.
Oh, God. Okay, right. Hit me with it, because I need to write this down.
Right, so one Ferrari, one McLaren, and one Alpine out in Q2. And then one Ferrari and one McLaren and one Alpine in the points.
Okay. Out in Q2.
1 point.
And in points. That's fine. We can manage that.
And I just said Williams Q2.
I like that because Latifi has now out-qualified Russell, that you're putting faith in him to be able to do that.
Well, I'm just saying, either Williams or both. Just
an appearance by Williams.
Yeah. Anything else you have to do this week?
No? Question mark?
I don't think so either.
Happy retirement to Valentino Rossi.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was watching The Swap on Sky Sports F1 after Ted's Notebook. It was a good watch.
The fact that Rossi can just hop in a Mercedes and be actually not bad.
Yeah. In fairness, he has tested an F1 car before.
Yeah, I know, but still,
he nearly got an F1 drive.
It just shows you like the pedigree of racing driver that he is. He could mix it with the best of them.
Yeah.
Chuck him in Formula 2 and see how it is. I really want to see how he does in a Formula 2 seat.
Take him to the young driver test.
Yeah, if you didn't do that, you may as well chuck him in a Haas. Swap out Mazepin rather than Russell.
He'd bring more sponsorship deals than Mazepin would.
Exactly.
Well, more positive media at least.
Well, we already know who's win the 2022 Formula 2 Championship because as it stands, there's only one driver in it. And that is Teo Pourchaire. He's the only driver confirmed.
Yeah, they always take a lot longer to confirm.
Wait, was it Pourchaire, sorry?
And F2, no, it was...
He was definitely French.
Yeah, it was Clement...
Oh, is it Clement Novalak?
Yeah.
I was going to say, because Pourchaire's got his eye on that Alfa Romeo.
On that title, yeah.
But the rumour, apparently, something's been spotted in China.
Yeah,
where Guan Yu Zhou is in the overalls.
Apparently...
So by the time this podcast goes out, we'll know.
Yeah.
They said they'd announce it on the Tuesday.
Apparently Giovinazzi's been told that Joe's getting the seat and he's out.
Yeah, but Giovinazzi was being told like weeks ago.
True, but that's just a rumour. So.
It's not like Haas when they decided to sack K-Mag and Grosjean just announced it on social media. They'd have told the drivers first.
But yeah, we'll see. They said the announcement comes out on Tuesday, which is really helpful for a podcast that records on a Monday evening.
Yep.
Muchas gracias.
Time will tell.
Yeah, but big ups Alfa Romeo for your first driver announcement being on a Monday. Why couldn't you do it again?
Exactly. Anyway,
podcast noises.
That wraps up this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast. Join us next week for all the reactions to the Qatar Grand Prix. And we discuss whoever did get the Alfa Romeo seat, if they decided to tell us and not tell us something else. All they've said is that there's news.
Surprise, Fred Vasseur signs.
Paul di Resta. Oh, did you see the mock-up from an Indian Alfa Romeo dealership? Congratulations, Mahavir.
Yeah.
The Lord in F1.
Could you imagine him and Mazepin?
The unholy trifecta assembling itself in Formula One.
And then an extra bingo round.
Will they collide? If so, on what lap?
Next year, if Thingy retains his F2 seat.
Who's Thingy? There's a lot of F2 drivers.
There's a lot of
the
Thingies.
one that's very bad.
There's a lot of F2 drivers.
Yeah.
The one that we always compare to Mahavir. I can't remember his name.
Begins with D, doesn't it?
Daleda.
Yes, Alessio Daleda. We can play Mazepin and Daleda bingo on Formula 2 weekends.
There's going to be a lot more involved because there's the sprint race and because he is that slow that he gets lapped in a sprint race. So
and there's 14 rounds.
Oh my god.
Actually, how close was Mazepin to getting lapped in the sprint? I'm genuinely curious now.
Honestly, not sure.
Let's find out. Right, sprint results.
How long was the sprint again?
Plus 67 seconds. Now, when you consider a lap was just over 70 seconds.
I was going to say, it's like 1:11, wasn't it?
Mazepin was only a couple of laps, probably, off of being lapped in the sprint.
So he's probably heading into turn one as somebody's passing the pit entrance.
Yeah, he's probably heading into turn one as Max comes through turn 13.
That's not a long way off getting lapped. But it's Mazepin.
In fairness, Schumacher was also 61 seconds down, so he wasn't much further up the road.
But he was further up the road.
Yeah, but not in the race.
That was what I forgot. The press conference of Kimi and Mick, and it's like, I can slow down and we can race, and then they race and they crash.
Yeah.
It was going to be wholesome, and then it just missed.
Yeah.
It was
and
wholesome,
Mazepin's emotional press conference as well.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Anyway, join us next week for all the reaction to the Qatar Grand Prix and the Alfa Romeo announcement, whatever that may be. And then we go to Jeddah. Well, then we have a week off.
Yeah. Okay.
So we need to find a non-race podcast to talk about.
I got that covered. I think I got that covered anyway.
And then we've got the final 2 rounds. Let's get a prediction in now. With 3 races to go, just the people who are here. Who takes both titles? Richard.
Hamilton and Mercedes.
Nia?
Verstappen and Mercedes.
Ben?
Max and Mercedes.
I'm going Hamilton and Mercedes.
And I'm not even a fanboy.
Alex is definitely going Hamilton and Mercedes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's just a given.
Yeah.
Max to DNF in the next 3 rounds and Bottas to some.
Oh, lovely bold prediction there, Chris. Well done.
No. I don't even think it's possible. I don't think there's enough points.
Double points last race.
How many points behind is he? Because there's, 7 to 8 points left?
Yeah, it's only possible for the Hamilton and Verstappen to win a title now.
Yeah. Yeah, because Bottas is 129 points. Sorry, 129.5.
Ferrari to win the driver's title.
The whole team, Ferrari. Do I know the worst thing? Ferrari is a team behind both Max and Lewis. And are only 80 points ahead of Bottas. So Anyway, join us next week where Richard feels more Ferrari pain because they are slow. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time. Ta-ra!